I'll launch the recording and I will share let's share everything I have. So now my screen should be shared. And you should be able to see the screen over here. I will just lower a bit the volume over here so I don't get startled. And let's check the pointer. So from what I just asked, we have some new students coming to KTH as doing their exchange. Let's see if this works. Yep, it works. Perfect. So this is the kickoff for the RET, Renewable Energy Technology course. This is a very condensed course, I would say. We are basically having lecture every day. So you will be meeting different speakers, different teachers every day. I will go through the structure of the course in the first hour, presenting some of the administration issues and things that you have to be aware of, such as plagiarism, like exam, I would say manners, how to behave. But those we will come a bit later. So first, I would like to welcome everybody for taking the course. For those who are obliged to take the course, I would say this is a very interesting course. For those who chose this as an optional course on your free will, thank you very much for choosing the course. And I will start by presenting myself. The screen that we have here is a bit small, well, hopefully you can see everything. If not, let me know. So I'm an assistant professor at the Energy Technology Department. Most of you who have taken RET1 must have seen me. So I'm also teaching RET1 on energy storage. And here in this course, I'm the course responsible as well as the examiner for the RET2. So I obtained my PhD degree in 2013 in energy storage. Currently, I'm project investigator. So I do research work half of my time, and I supervise students. I supervise bachelor degree students, master degree students, and PhD students. My interests are storage, district heating, cooling, heat transfer, thermodynamics, and also energy systems. So I do modeling mainly for the energy systems. And then I also teach educational aspect course for the PhD level. So I'm interested also in the pedagogical aspects. So that's my background. And then this is the overview of the Department of Energy Technology. So this course is given by the Division of Heat and Power. And this division is part of the Energy Technology Department, which is one of the departments at the ITM school. ITM stands for Industrial Management and Engineering. And there are 5 schools at KTH. They downsized from 11 schools previously, from 2 years ago, to now 5 schools. So those are the different schools. The vision of the Energy Technology Department is that we want to contribute to a sustainable future. I would say that's the main goal, that's the main vision. And then how do we achieve that? What are the means? Well, we have inspired teaching, and then we want to have international research, so world-class research. This is a picture depicting the different aspects that we touch upon at the department. This is a non-exhaustive list or a non-complete picture, but you can see we tackle a lot of different energy sources, renewable energy resources, and also different technologies. And from the KTH, I would say, because at KTH they do have this general documentation, sort of a KTH vision. Here they say that the largest challenge today is to reach sustainable development and to solve the climate change issues. So that's the one that's being highlighted from KTH overall perspective. So this is something very important, and renewable energy is one of the solutions to help to reach this goal. So it's good that you're here to take this course. So I will divide our session today into 2 parts, and also if you have any questions, comments, just jump in. Sometimes I don't see you raising your hand, so just shout out. So the first hour will be on some general information about the course administration. What are the intended learning outcomes? So from the pedagogical aspect, it is important that you know what is expected from you. And then we will go through the different activities and assessments so that you know how you're going to be assessed. So that's also very important for this first hour. And then how we grade, I mean, the grading, the weighting factor will be presented there. So you know that, is the exam a major part, or is it the project that's a major part? So we'll look at the weighting factor. And then I will present the different topics that you will be learning, or that you will be looking at during this course. I will give you the deadlines and the different exam dates that you need to be aware of, because you have to register for the exams yourselves. If not, you cannot take the exam. Because here it's very flexible. I mean, if you don't want to take the exam, you can choose not to take it. But it's best that you register in good time so that you don't get surprised by the fact that there may be no available exam seats left. Then we will go through some of the reference reading materials. Some of them are highly recommended or even obliged by the topic teacher. Those I will tell you which they are. And there are some other are for your references. So if you're interested in the topic, you can look deeper into it. And then I will give some additional information. So this is good for especially the newcomers to KTH. Some of the rules, regulations, maybe some of the help centers that can provide you help with the writing or anything like that. But I will come down to that. So this is the table of content for the first hour. And then we will go through, I will present the table of content for the second hour later. And in between, we can take a 5 to 10 minutes break. So general information, this course is taken by the sustainable engineering students, sustainable energy engineering students, who are following the SPG track. Do we have them here, SE students? Who are in the SE? You are in the SE. Okay, so half of you are from SE. And then some of the ISEE, which is the distance-based SE students.
Oh, you can hear?
Do we have a question from online students?
Our slides here don't change. We don't know why.
Oh, your slides don't change. That's interesting. Do you see my desktop right now? Maybe I need to stop my camera so that we can reduce the internet.
The classroom system, I think, is stuck. On our personal computers, we can see you changing the slides.
Okay.
We're just going to try and fix it quick.
Sure, please do that. Or else
yeah,
follow...
she's just going to restart it.
Okay, great. Otherwise, follow from your laptop screen. I think that could be the temporary solution. And then we also have the select program students who are taking this course. Do we have select students? You guys are select students. Okay, so the other half of the classroom. We do have the select UPC who are now online also with us. And then the RENE program, the innovative master program, I think they are also taking it. Do we have RENE program students? You are. Okay, not that many. And then we have a few exchange students earlier. I saw the hands earlier. So they are also taking part of the course. Then I don't think this year we have any energy online program students, although I'm not sure, because now the thing is, most of you, especially for the newcomers, you have to go to KTH SE, log in, go to services, and register for the courses. So make sure you do that so that you get a student card. And after you do that, then we will see you in the system as well. And then to follow the course, for the KTH-based students, the renewable energy technology basic course is a prerequisite. And for the exchange students, it's not a prerequisite. And from what I counted, we're roughly 60 participants as of yesterday when I checked. But then, of course, some they haven't clicked on registration. So once you have all clicked on register to the course, then I will see the exact number. Course administration. So I'm the course leader and the course examiner. This is my email address. So if you wish to get in touch with me, you can, well, I was going to say send me an email, but if you have access to Canvas, Canvas is our learning management system. I prefer you send it through Canvas so I can have a collection of all the questions. And it will be easier to manage. But of course, if you don't have Canvas, or if your question is how do I get access to Canvas, then sure, send me an email. Normally, when you register to the course, then you automatically get the access. So register first to the course. And then if you want to meet me in person, sure, contact me, also Canvas or email to set up appointments. So basically the thing is email, don't use it too much because sometimes I get drowned in the email, so I may not reply you, but then Canvas it has a filtering system. So I can get back to you like faster. And then also right after the class or right before the class, you're welcome to have a talk with me as well. Today I came a bit like on time, I mean, or a little bit past quarter. So today it was not possible, but in the future I will be here sharp. So then you can use the 15 minutes to come to talk to me if you wish to. These are the intended learning outcomes. So this is what you will achieve, and this is what you will be assessed upon when you finish the course. So we can go through them point by point. So this is maybe one of the most important slides here I have for the first hour. I have also all of this written in the course syllabus. So for those who have checked the Canvas platform, you can go to the course MJ2412. And I have set the syllabus page as the front page of this Canvas event. So once you click on the MJ2412, you will come to the course syllabus. So go through this course syllabus. That's where I have this also explained. So describe in detail. So after you finish the course, you should be able to describe in detail the fundamentals and the main characteristics of wind, bioenergy, and solar energy, and their differences as compared to fossil fuels or fossil fuel-based energy. For those who have sort of missed last year's exam, or let's say, for those who did not pass last year's exam, I know some of them are following also the course online. We have made a slight change for this year. So this year we will have an additional module, so extra content, which is on energy storage. So last year we didn't have energy storage in this course. We only had it in the renewable energy technology basic course. But here, this year we will have that as well. So for those who missed or failed last year's exam, please check that module as well this year, the energy storage module. And then second point is describe in detail the main components of the 3 different renewable energy systems. Explain the technologies to harness renewable energy sources, analyze the effects that fossil fuel-based systems may have on the environment and the society, compare different renewable energy technologies and choose the most appropriate ones based on the local conditions, so that you're aware that you need to have the resources. You need to, if you are setting up a wind farm, you need to be sure there's wind. Yeah. Sometimes it's very trivial, straightforward, but when we're like in the heat of doing the engineering construction, sometimes we don't think about it, or less at least. Compare different renewable energy technologies, yeah, that we said, and then design and dimension the different solutions with storage-based systems, with wind, bioenergy and solar energy as the renewable energy resources that meet the energy requirements. And they have to be economically feasible and minimal impact on the environment. So this is a big clause. I mean, this is maybe one of the most important parts for you in your future career, so that you need to have a critical thinking. You need to make sure that you analyze all the aspects, not just cost-wise, but also from the environmental perspective and social acceptance as well. Sometimes even policies have to be suitable so that you can implement such a system. So this is a summary of the learning outcomes. You can find the same bullet points in the syllabus. And then so far, do we have any questions on the learning outcome? I think it was quite straightforward. So yeah, review this, especially before the exam. I mean, during the course and also before the exam, so that you are aware what is expected from you. And then the activities that we will perform are listed here. We will have lectures. For those who took RET 1, you know that most of the lectures were pre-recorded. They were produced in the media lab. But in this course, we will have physical face-to-face lectures, all the time. And then some of the recorded lectures will be given to you through Canvas as complementary materials. But the ones that are, the lectures that are set in the schedule are the most important ones. We will have one lab in this course. We call it Lab A. It is 1.5 credits. It's on fluidized bed. And then this week we'll be able to look at the principle of this fluidized bed. We have Professor Andrew Martin, who is also head of the division, will be teaching you this week on the bioenergy section. But I have another slide on that, so we will see the different modules later on. And for this lab, you need to, first come to the lab, do the lab, and then write a report. There will be some additional calculations as well on top of the lab. So the lab is on fluidized bed, but we'll have some additional calculation questions, exercises for you, which complements a bit. Because the lab is focusing on the heat transfer aspect of the fluidization, of the fluidized bed, but then chemical reaction, chemical equilibrium is also important. So that will be done on exercise, as an exercise. So one report per group. We will have roughly 10 groups for the lab. And then you will have only pass or fail, so no grades. Either you do it well or you miss the concept and you fail it. For the project, it's also 1.5 credits. It's a project on solar energy, especially on CSP, so concentrating solar power. There will be a report that you need to hand in and also an oral presentation. I will give you the dates afterwards. And then it's one report per group and one presentation together with the whole group, one per group as well. Here you will be graded from A to E. Actually A to F, but F means fail, so don't try to get F, try to get A to E. I will present you the deadlines as well. And then at the end of the third period, so we are now in period 3 for those who are new to KTH system. At the end of this period, so March, we will have the exam. So this is a very condensed course. Like we run it over 2.5 months, and then you have an exam. And here we will have closed book exam, and it's paper-based. I know some of you have had maybe computer-based exams, but here we will be still doing old school, paper-based. So those are the different activities and assessments that you will have throughout this course. Regarding the grading, so earlier we said lab will be pass or fail, project will be A to F, where F is non-desirable. And then for the exam, we have additional grade FX. So if you get FX, which is the borderline between E, so the lowest passing grade, and F fail, you get an FX. And for this, you will be given a possibility to sort of catch up to get an E. But Still try to get as high grade as possible from the beginning. Here is the equation of how the final grade will be given. So it is the weighting factors are the ECTS. So the number of credits are the weighting factor. And it's actually, let's see, the lab is not graded. So you don't have the lab here. The course is 6 credits. But then here you're going to be sort of judged based on 4.5 credits. I mean, the weighting factor at least. And then there's a prerequisite, that is, you must pass the lab in order to get your final grade. So if you don't have the lab passed, then you cannot pass the course. And here we do not allow you to resubmit the reports. So once the grades are given, they're given. There's no resubmission, no catching up. And also no late submissions as well. So we do have different teachers who are grading the different reports. So if the reports come in late, they're no longer helping out with the gradings. So then it will be an F automatically. So submit the reports on time. Okay, so here, sorry, Fx is 49, and below 49, that is F. So for you, I think most of you know what the time edit website is. So basically, it's a website on KTH where you can see the schedule for the course. So just for the newcomers, I will show you. So the link is provided in the PowerPoint. I will show the PowerPoint on Canvas later. So this is the time edits. Okay, if I go to the home page here, oops, sorry. I think here, if I go to here, search timetable, here you can choose in English, and then you search for the course, and this one is MJ2412, and you click on this, and then I want to show everything until the end of the year, so let's put June 30th. Okay, I lost it again, MJ2412, this one, and then show schedule. And then here, that's how you get the schedule. So here you see that tomorrow you'll be meeting again at 10 o'clock, the day after tomorrow again 10, and the day after tomorrow 10. So this 3 days will be on biomass, bioenergy. Today we are we the 15th or 16th? Here, 15th. So here we're over here right now in B3. And all these different acronyms stands for different programs, so that you know that which programs are obliged to take the course. All right, so you can check it later on. Now let's take a look at the different modules that we have. The first module here I will present. You will not get this as the first taught lecture, but so they're not in a chronological fashion. So I'm putting them like randomly. So one of the modules is solar energy. You have 8 sessions, 8 meetings. They consist of lectures, tutorials, and some events, such as one event with the Moroccan embassy. You have a guest speaker, for instance, that will come. I think he will be flying from Chile, I believe so. So from South America, to talk about industrial experience with large-scale solar, concentrated solar power plants. And then we do have KTH lecturers to meet you. So 4 lectures on CSP, 1 tutorial, so problem solving, and then 1, I think, let's see, 1, 2, yeah, okay, 1 lecture, sorry for the typo, on PV over here. Double check the schedule. I will show you the schedule, so you have the finalized version of it. And then the project that we'll be doing, it will be open latest on the 28th of January, so you know the contents of the project. And the deadline of the submission is a month later, 25th of February. Then you have the bioenergy module that you will start this week, so starting from tomorrow. You have 3 sessions, 3 meetings. So you will learn combustion, you will learn fluidized bed, and you will learn chemical equilibrium and kinetics. The lecturer is Andrew Martin, Professor Andrew Martin. And after each, so during the session that you meet Professor Andrew Martin, you will have also some short exercise solving at the end of the lecture. So I think the last 40 minutes, you'll be solving exercises with him. So in-class problem solving. And then, so I just talked with him right now, and he's saying that he has condensed everything. So all the recorded lectures that he had prepared for RET2, he's going to teach you in person, so you won't have any recorded lectures. But he will be here. Then we have an engineer, doctor engineer, who is going to come and talk about wind energy. You may have met him already, Dr. Thomas Ackermann. So his publication is quite famous, very popular. So if you go to KTH website, KTH library website, look for his name, Thomas Ackermann, you see all the books he has published and all the number of citations he got. And you see like, oh, 15,000 people have used his book. And it's like quite a big shot, I would say, in wind. And he's going to talk about wind resource. The thing is, since he's teaching so many different classes at different universities, sometimes he starts from the beginning, the fundamentals. So if you feel that he's going too shallow, or too fundamental, too basic, tell him right away, because he can go very deep, actually. So make sure that there's a communication in class. Otherwise, he just starts again from the fundamental, from the beginnings. So he's going to talk about wind resource, wind measurements, wind power integration issues, and design of hybrid energy systems. And I asked him to approach wind from a more industrial perspective, so more from an engineering approach, instead of from academic fundamentals. But I will be joining also the lectures whenever I'm available at KTH, so I can also follow as well. So 3 sessions, so 6 hours with him. Then energy storage module, so that is me. I will do the lectures in the same fashion as Andrew. So I will have lectures, and then at the end, some tutorials, so problem solvings at the end of each of the sessions. And I will focus more on the applications as well as the calculations aspects of it. And you will have 3 sessions with me. Regarding the lab, so we will have 1 lab on the bioenergy, fluidized bed. So we start the first lab on the 14th of February, and we finish on the 1st of March. There will be 10 sessions, but you only have to come once. So choose one of the 10 sessions. I will open up a registration form on Canvas, so you can choose whichever session you wish to attend, so that we don't have everybody coming at the same time, and then nobody comes in the field session. So I will limit it. And then for those who are online students, yes, please. Yes, please. Do we have a question?
I think your next sentence was gonna be my question. So.
Yes. So for the online students, actually, you remind me when you were speaking from the speaker. We will not have you on site, but we'll do a remote lab. That means we will have someone at the lab, also recording, sending you live feed, and guide you through the lab, and so that you will be able to do the labs as well, but on a distance based. You will not be able to touch it, smell it, feel it, but you will be able to interact with the lab responsible, saying, please turn up the knob, go up higher with the heating rate, etc., or lowering it. So you have some sort of remote hand over here. And then this is going to be a group work as well as a group report. So 1 report per group. And then I recommend that all the on-campus students, you register for the same sessions, and all the distance students, you register for the, well, actually now when I think of it, well, yeah, I still prefer that it's a bit separate so that it's easier to manage. But of course, sometimes we don't have the exact even number or exact distribution. So maybe sometimes we'll have a mix. One of the groups may be a mixed group between online and on-campus students, which is fine. The deadlines and exam dates are shown on this slide. So on the 25th of February, we have the projects report due. So you have to submit it on Canvas, through Canvas. And then on the 4th of March, we will have a full day oral presentation. I will cut the group into two parts. So one part, half of the class will attend the morning session and half will attend the afternoon session. One oral presentation per group. And then 12th of March is the report that is due. So you have 2.5 weeks time, roughly. 2 weeks time, let's say, for the lab report. Yes, exactly. Okay, maybe for the, exactly. So the last session is on the 1st of March. So for the last group, it's maybe only 12 days, but for most of you, you'll be having a bit longer time to do the lab report. The lab is not difficult, so don't be too worried. And then on the 15th of March, we will have the exam. It will be from 2 to 6 in the afternoon. And if by misfortune you sort of cannot attend that exam, maybe you have a conflict in the schedule, or maybe you get sick, you cannot come, or maybe you haven't studied and then you fail the exam, then you can come back on the 5th of June. That's the re-exam, also in the afternoon, 2 to 6. But I highly recommend that you attend the first exam. Some of the reading materials are shown here. Almost all of them are available on KTH Library website. At least when I checked, all of them are available, but sometimes there can be some changes. You never know. So download them as soon as possible when they're still available. The first two references are mandatory. So Professor Andrew Martin would like you to read them before coming to the class. So make sure that you download these two chapters, chapter 4, chapter 3.
Excuse me, Professor?
I don't have tonight to do it.
I think in Barcelona we don't have access to the KTH library. Is it possible to download these and post them on Canvas for us?
Sure. Do you have... No, you don't have KTH account, right? You only have...
That's correct.
No. Sure. Then in that case, I will download them and post them online. On
Great, thank you.
And then for the energy storage, for the solar part, we have a recommended reading. So it's not mandatory, but it's recommended. For the wind power, we do have another book, not mandatory, recommended. And then for the energy storage, I recommend also one book to give you some background into energy storage. So the first two are mandatory. The three that are shown here are recommended. And then also I have compiled also the reference materials from previous years. So previous years course responsibles and teachers, they have a list of other materials, which I also post them here. So if you want to go deeper, feel free to go deeper with the additional materials. All of them are available through your kth.se account. So, go through them on your own pace. Now for the last 5 minutes or so before this hour ends, I would like to present some additional information. This is a good review for those who have been at KTH for half a year already, or even for those who have been here for civil engineers or 3 years and a half. But then for the new students, new exchange students, I think this is very informative. So all the course registrations or the exam registrations, you have to do that by yourselves. And you do that on the KTH website, log in to KTH. On top of the page, you have the services. So go through the services, check all the functions there. We are using Canvas as our learning management system. That's where we share our course materials, lectures. That's where you submit your assignments. That's where we grade your assignments as well. Check this Canvas course events regularly, because we may be updating or we may be telling you what's going to be the exams, through Canvas. So check those regularly. And then study continuously, because some of the reading materials, they take some time to read. So make sure you study continuously, not to wait until the last day. Okay, and then this is more because this is for a master program. So I'm also leading a master program. That's why I'm putting here. So yes, you're allowed to work according to the Swedish regulations. But then make sure that you don't overburden yourself. So that put some time still at KTH, even if you're working outside the academic world. And keep the deadlines. That's one of the most important things. And every course will give you 2 opportunities. Well, okay, maybe not all, but most of the courses would give you 2 opportunities for the exams. And then there's the exam in March, and then they re-exam in June. And some of you may be flying away or going back by that time, so make sure that you take the exam as soon as possible when you're here on campus. Otherwise, you'll have to fly back. That's not so nice to travel so much. All the exams are individual. For this course at least, so do not talk during the exams, or do not phone call or type emails, etc. That will be considered as cheating. Make sure you write your name, personal number on each page, but I'm sure you know about that. And read the questions carefully. This is very, how to say, fundamental, but make sure that you still read the questions carefully. Again, a reminder, sign up to the exams. Latest 3 weeks, I believe. I don't know if they have changed the system. Is it still 3 weeks? I think that's the deadline. So 3 weeks before the exam, you have to sign up. So if we're having it mid-March, that means mid-February, you can already sign up for your exam. Bring ID with photo and your student card to the exam place. Because I think last week we had the exam week for the period 2, and a few students, they got blocked outside because they didn't have ID with a photo, or they couldn't show their student card. So make sure you have those with you all the time, especially for the exam entrance. It takes roughly 15 working days, sometimes longer, but that's on average 3 weeks before you get your exam grades. And then it will maybe take another week for the reporting of the grades. So normally after 1 month, you will see the grades through the KTH portal. And then you can check your exam at the student desk. So if you go to Brunel Wagen, Energy Technology Department, there's an Expedition Nord. That's the student desk, and that's where you can ask for the exam. Because if you're thinking, oh, you should get an A, but you get an E, for instance, or you think that something must have gone wrong, then you can ask to see the exam paper with the corrections on it. And also you can, so after checking it, if you think that it has not been graded fairly, you can ask, so this is on individual basis, ask for a re-grade of your exam. But then you have to make sure that you clearly state the reason for the regrading of the exam. And then there's a form to fill in at the desk, Brunel Wagen 68. Some words about cheating. So this has occurred actually, not in this course, I believe, but in other courses. So if you're caught cheating, that would lead you to 6 months suspension. That means you cannot, or you're not legally allowed to be on campus for 6 months. It's some sort of like if you come here, KTH has the right to ask police to take you out. So very, very, very harsh. And then so basically you need to take a 6 months break. And then this will be shown on the transcript on your final report, the grade report. So make sure this never happens. Maybe this is one of the most serious, how to say, I wouldn't say like felony, but that's like a thing you should not do. Plagiarism as well. It's highly, how to say, it's not tolerated at all at KTH. You can get a fail if you're being caught plagiarizing. That means, well, everything you submit to Canvas will go through this turn it in plagiarism check program, and then the percentage of similarities will be shown to the person who's correcting or reading through your reports. And then, of course, sometimes you can have 7%, 8%, 9% the same, because all the reference, they're the same. So then, and the program doesn't distinguish the reference. I mean, the bibliography section. But then if the teacher or the person who is correcting see that most of your report has been copy-pasted, then you could be charged for plagiarism. And that would mean a fail. Of course, how to say, I have never seen that happen. I mean, once maybe, I've seen once, but the teacher was kind enough to ask the student to write the report. So he managed to catch up afterwards. But still, make sure that you don't do that. Give reference, even if you cite, use citation marks. Give reference if it's some other person's work. So an example is over here. This is a direct quote. So quotes, it's this marks that you have to use. And then if you want to know more, you can read up on this reference material. All right. And then at the end of this course, or any of the courses at KTH, you will be given the chance to evaluate the course. So if you think that there's something to be improved, you can provide it in the final course evaluation. Or if you think, oh, it's fantastic, great, please also comment so that all the teachers who are stepping in, they would appreciate it. So do that. Normally, we are asked to sort of have an additional session after you have finished all the exams, after you have completed this course evaluation form. But then very often, students, they leave already, or they don't come back to KTH. So normally we don't have high attendance rate when we're having this final feedback session. But if you're interested, I would highly encourage you to come back. You won't get any credits. There may be no direct benefit for you, but it will be beneficial for the future students for the final session to discuss about the feedback. We do have students with special needs. It can be physical or mental disabilities sometimes, or low or slow learning rate. Some people, they may be having some difficulties in learning as well. So we do have a service center at KTH for those who are in need for extra attention, extra care. So yeah, you can check this. Also available on the KTH website. And then also let the examiner know, like if you're a Funka student, so those with needs, special needs, let the examiner know in advance. This is valid for any courses. We do have some online resources. So check, you have everything that I just mentioned to you here on kth.se students page. The Canvas platform is here, kth.instructure.com. The energy technology homepage is over here, www.energy.kth.se. And then we do have an academic resource center where they can help you with the writing. So if you think that your English is very poor, you need to brush up on that, or you need some extra resources, feel free to go to the KTH library. It's all the way to the right-hand side, there, the center. And then you can check out their website as well to book a meeting time with the staff over there. And then the Expedition Award email address is over here. This is the student desk email. All right, so I would like to take a 5 minutes break. So if there are are there questions so far with the structure of the course? I would recommend that you go through the syllabus, and then also I have posted Excel file with all the schedule. So you see who is teaching, at what time, in which room, with a topic. So this is an Excel file I have on Canvas. So click on that file so you get the full picture of the course schedule. Yep, so let's meet again at, what time is it now? It's 2:07, so let's meet at, let's say 2:15, so 1/4 past. See you soon. All right, so welcome back. We will have the second part of today's kickoff. Oh. I will wait a little bit so that everybody can sit down. All right, so the second hour, I will divide it into 3 parts. I will give you a brief overview. Okay, so, and sorry, I want to just mention a few things about the schedule. So on the Canvas page, I have provided you with this Excel file. So this is the Excel file that you'll be able to see. So there will be number of week, the dates, the start time, end time of the lecture, or the project meeting, or the lab, the room, and then also the topic, as well as the, let's see if I have it here, as well as the teacher who is going to teach. Yes, over here. So check this Excel file. Yeah. Now let's come back here. And also the sign up for the lab and for the project groups will be open right before the, the solo project will start end of 28th of January, right? We said. So it will be at least 1 week before you will be able to sign up to form different groups. And then the same for the lab. Latest, I will try to make it happen as soon as possible, but latest 1 week before the lab, or 1 week before the project starts. So yes, so the table of contents for the second part of today's session will be an overview on renewable energy worldwide. So it's not just energy, but we will put a bit more focus on renewable energy. I will present the different research that we have at energy technology departments, heat and power division. Maybe some of you have joined the introductory course, so maybe you have seen some of these slides over there. For the others, I think this is quite interesting, especially next year you'll be having a thesis work, so this can give you some ideas about where to get the thesis topic, or even companies where to go for your master thesis and of the degree projects. And then third part will be mainly on the SDG. SDG stands for Sustainable Development Goals. So there are 17 goals provided by United Nations, or set up by the UN. So I will have a brief talk on that. And for us, we are mainly focusing on SDG 7, which is on energy. So different goals, they have different gender equality, poverty, there's food, there's clean water, etc., etc. And then we will look at number 7 mainly, which is on sustainable energy. All right, world energy overview. So I would say out there, there are a lot of information, a lot of documentations you can get to get this overview. So here it's some sort of I borrowed most of the slides over here, and so this is some sort of a recap, I would say. And then also when you're looking at all those data, I mean, I'm sure you have seen a lot of this data. Something very important is that you should have, how to say, when I say critical eye, I don't mean that you should criticize it, but you should have analysis, you should analyze. So have some critical thinking, that means analyze the data you see. So what we see here is the global renewable power capacity. So this is the capacity that we can have, and it has reached roughly 2.2 terawatts as of last year or like 2 years ago. And here we see half of it, it's hydro-based, and the rest are the other types of renewable energies. And then also very often we talk about modern renewable, and then we talk about conventional renewable. Who knows the difference? Anybody? Modern renewable sources and conventional renewable sources. So basically when we talk about biomass, when we talk about burning wood, that is the conventional way. And then when we talk about solar PV, geothermal, all that, or even pyrolysis of wood, I mean, all those technologies that are non-burning wood, then we say it's modern renewable. So that's the main difference. So sometimes you may see this terminology as well. But here, so something to know is that half of it is mainly hydro. And then we see that wind has a large share, solar has a large share, and then bio, still little. And then all the rest, geothermal, wave, tidal, etc., they are very small. So it has grown 10% roughly from 2016 to 2017. And among the newly installed renewable power capacity, we have a lot of solar PV. Why is that? Do you know? Like, why do we have a PV that's coming up so fast?
Prices are falling.
Yeah, so mainly the cost. So we have managed to have mass production of PV panels. There are some, I would say, controversies about that, because by cutting down the cost, that means the manufacturers, maybe they are not taking care of all the wastewater that are from the production chain, or the contaminants. Maybe they are not cleaning or treating those that well. So sometimes people are skeptical about this very cheap solar panels. And then we also have wind that's growing quite big because also of the cost and also the technology matureness. This table is a bit small, but if you want, you can download the full report. So this is a report called Renewables 2018 Global Status Report. The chair of this report is from Technical University of Athens in Greece. And the full report is 300 something pages. And then you have a smaller report, a summary. So actually I printed out before I came. So this is a summary of the report, 50 pages or so. So there are very nice pictures. So I recommend you to download it and take a look if you're interested. And most of my slides from the first part of the second hour is taken from the report, from their like public website. And then if we take a look at the renewable energies, so this is the total capacity over here. The largest one is China. And then if it is per capita, renewable power capacity per capita, we see Iceland. They have a lot of geothermal, so they're ranked #1 in terms of per capita. And then, yeah, I mean, you can see roughly here. So China is growing up, and then in terms of bio, if it's capacity, it is United States. But then in terms of generated, like generated amount is China. So you can have a high capacity, but maybe you're not using it. The capacity factor is low, maybe. So there's a difference between the generated capacity, the generated power and the capacity. This is a picture of the previous table without counting the hydro. So here, if we take away the hydro, we lose directly half of the total renewable energy capacity. And we see here that, China is roughly at the same level as the whole EU, 28. Who knows what BRICS stands for? Anybody? BRICS?
Brazil, Russia, India, China.
South Africa. Yes, good. So we see like a distribution here. So what can we make out of this picture? Well, there's a large market in China, I would say. That's one of the conclusions I see here. So take a look at this during your free time. So try to get some conclusions. Try to get some analysis out of it. That could be quite interesting.
Is there a reason why hydropower is excluded?
Oh, because it's too large.
Huh?
It's too large. I mean, we didn't exclude it. We just excluded in the picture.
Okay.
But here it is here. It's just that it's easier to see while we take that away. Here is the estimated renewable share of the total final energy consumption. And we see that even today, 80% comes from fossil fuel. So even though we say that, we are installing a lot of PV, installing a lot of wind turbines, but still it's 80% from fossil fuel-based energy sources. And then here, like what we mentioned earlier, traditional biomass, that means UDI biomass, and then the modern renewables are all the rest, wind, solar, geothermal, and then if we treat the biomass, pyrolysis, gasification, then it's also counted as modern renewables, like ethanol. If we produce ethanol from biomass, that is like modern renewable. So here we see the distribution of it, and total, the renewable energy stands for 18%, less than 18% in our total energy consumption. And also, some people, they don't like the word consumption. They say we cannot consume energy, but as long as you understand what it means, then it's fine. I mean, here you can also say energy use. Yeah. And here is shown the part of the renewable. So all the small square here are the renewables. All the rectangles are by sectors. So we see heating stand for 50%. We see of the energy use. And then we see transportation, 1/3 of the total energy use. And then we have power. So here, power means electricity. And then we have a lot of loss. I mean, some others are other losses. I don't think they're presented here, the loss. So because when you're running your power plants, part of the renewable energy sources is lost into heat, like waste heat. So that is lost. Yeah. So what can you tell? Do you have any? What can you say about this graph? What's the first thing that comes to mind? We see that there's maybe a large potential for the transportation. I mean, if you look at the proportions in heating, electricity use, renewable energy integration is higher in percentage as compared to transportation. This is mainly because for transportation, most of the transportation means they'll rely on fossil fuel-based energy sources. So like gasoline or fuel oil. And this trend will change, especially now with the plug-in electric, hybrid electric, or even pure EV, pure electric vehicles. So this will slowly increase in share, although you'll be taking some time, from my perspective. In some areas, you still, I mean, the whole infrastructure has to be in place before you get all the electric vehicles. And then I want to also remind you about some of the like emission trading mechanisms. Like you have this joint implementation. You have this, how is it called? This clean development mechanism. You have the international emission trading system. So all those brush up on your knowledge on those. So here I will just play a short video made by European Union, EU. Let's see if I have this sound. No sound. Let's see if I need to. I think the sound is. Okay, maybe I just use my laptop sound instead. Here, this is an explanation of what emission trading is. Of course, this is a very optimistic view about things. So from Kyoto Protocol, there has been these three mechanisms, right? Joint implementation, clean development mechanisms, emission trading systems. Who can tell me the difference between these three? Anybody? No? So joint implementation is mainly developed countries with developed countries. CDM, or clean development mechanism, it's more developed countries with developing countries. So let's say Sweden is investing in a wind farm. I don't know, in a developing country in Africa. That would be CDM. And in exchange, you can have the quota. You can buy the quota. And then the trading system then is like an international trading system. It's like a market where you can trade, like sell and buy. But of course, countries, they have to agree. They need to all agree on such a system, otherwise it will not work. So I mean, there are some hidden areas, or there are a lot of flaws that that have to be sort of rethought and better shaped for the system to work even better. But yes, if you're interested, check up on those. On this platform, this Europa platform, European Commission platform, they also have a course, a full course, online course, where you can learn what ETS is. So I will not dwell too much on this, and I will move on. Second part. So that was a brief summary. Of course, the whole report was 300 and so pages. They have a PowerPoint also, a slide with all the pictures here. So I have taken just a few of the slides from their PowerPoint. Check. It's very interesting. Yes. Second part. So now we are having 20 minutes left. I will spend 10 minutes to present the research that we are doing at the Energy Technology Department, especially at the Division of Heat and Power Technology, where this course is given. And then the third part will be a few words on the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So Andrew Martin is the head of the division. So we are the division over here, HPT, Heat and Power Technology. We are working on different fronts. So polygeneration, that is Professor Anders Wallqvist. Some of you may have taken courses with him. We have turbomachinery, so turbines, for instance, flutter, aero elasticity. That is Professor Paul Petri from Australia. So Anders is from Sweden, Paul is from Australia, Andrew is from Florida. And then here, so Andrew is responsible for biofuels, bioenergy, and thermochemical conversions. Then I'm here. I'm more into renewables, energy storage. We have Professor Bjorn Laumert into concentrating solar power, CSP, with his team. And then we have also an emeritus professor, so a retired professor, Torsten Franzen, who is more into the e-learning, lifelong learning, online education. But right now he has retired, so he's no longer with us. Let's go to each of the topics with some examples of what we're doing. So polygeneration, this is for district heating and cooling, district cooling and heating systems based on renewable energy sources. So basically we have refuse-derived fuels, so fuels we gasified. Oh, I think I know why. Let's see if I can disable the, I think there was a countdown that was activated. I will disable that. Slideshow, I think those things are causing issue. Yeah. And then at the outlets, we get syngas. So syngas it consists of hydrogen, methane, for instance, and then we can get synthetic natural gas, where most of it is CH4. So synthetic natural gas, methane as the predominant gas, and then syngas is more of a mix of a blend. We can use the heat to drive cooling, so heat-driven cooling to produce cooling for the district cooling network. And then we can also run a heat pump, for instance, from electricity produced to generate heating and cooling. So that's how, that's what the polygeneration is about. Of course, polygeneration also includes clean air, dehumidification, clean water. All these are parts of polygeneration. This is a lab setup of the turbine test rig we have. So here we have mainly Siemens contributing to the supporting us, I would say, with some of the test rigs. So we see the blade. So this is more from aerodynamic perspective point of view, and how we can sort of improve the safety, reduce the energy use, for instance, of a jet engine, for instance, or even a turbine at a power plant. This one is an example of solar-driven polygeneration at UAE, United Arab Emirates. So basically, we have our source, which is solar. We collect the heat, we store the heat. We can use it to run our membrane distillation, MD, sorry, here, membrane distillation, to filter water, to distill water, to get clean water. And then the waste heat, the low-grade heat, we can provide. We can use it to run heat-driven cooling, so we get cooling out of the low-temperature heat. This is the principle of the membrane distillation. So Andrew is also working on this. To make this work, we have high pressure, high temperature, and then it pushes the water molecules through the membrane. So it's the membrane that's the core technology. This is the setup at UAE, Ras Al Khaimah. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is the setup we see. So solar thermal array, and then you have the different modules there. This is the high flux solar lab that we have. So we have 11 or 12, I think, of the solar lamps where we can concentrate at 10 megawatt per square meter of concentration of energy. So this simulates the CSP, the concentrating solar tower. And then we test different receivers to see how efficient the receivers are. Because the higher the absorption, the coefficient of absorption is, the better the receiver is. And then at KTH, we have, if you have been to the Q building, so the quantum building where they have a restaurant, outside the Q building, you have the new students accommodation where they have the living lab. So what is a living lab? Basically, there are 4 dormitory rooms where students, they live in. And then we can test out different setups. So if we have a new prototype of a window, we can put a window there and test how efficient it is. Or if we have a new energy saving, like here we say the window frame, we have a new, let's say, heat recovery system. So air inside is warmer than the air outside, but we need to dilute the CO2, so we need to get some fresh air in. So it's good that if we can recover some of the heat and to warm up the inlet air. So if there's a new idea, new prototype, then we can just test it over there with real people, students living in those rooms. So this is the living lab, and these are the 3 buildings. That's the interior of one of the rooms. So here we have already implemented for the whole building the geothermal boreholes with heat pumps. So that's one of the technology already in place. So ground source heat pumps with novel heat collectors. We have wastewater as well. So the hot shower water, you can recover the heat as well. So 50 of those heat exchangers. We have PVs on the rooftops, and the energy used is around 230 megawatt hour for the 3 buildings. And the idea, so it's not a result, but it's like a goal. The goal is that we can actually produce more energy than what is needed. So we'll have to see about it. So this has commissioned just a year ago, less than a year ago. So we'll see next year about the results. So this is where it's located, living lab over there. So that's the Q building, and that's the living lab, 3 buildings over there. And we are somewhere down there, I think. Here, B building. Yeah. Okay, now a short video. This is not related specifically on renewable energy, but this is more about the research education. I'm thinking if I should click on it. Maybe not, but if you're interested, I will send this to you so you can watch this later on. This is more of a promotional video, but you can see what are the different research focus that we have at KTH. So I would prefer to go on to the third part, so to use the last 10 minutes to talk about the SDGs. Sustainable Development Goals. Who knows about the SDGs? Anybody? You? Yeah, you? You? Okay, almost everyone. Okay, 80%. That's good, that's good. So you know that there are 17 goals, and I think more than 193 or 96 countries, they have adopted these goals. I mean, they agreed these goals. And this is the results of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So from this agenda, we get the 17 goals. Who has taken the energy environment course? Anybody? Yeah, you have? Have you talked about this in energy environment? Yeah, you have. Perfect. Great. So a quote is that we want to have a shared blueprint for peace and for prosperity for people and for the planet. Yep, so that's a brief introduction for that. So you saw earlier like the different numbers, they are all attached to different goals. So here it's a zoomed in picture of those. You see power. So they are not ranked in any orders. They are randomly placed. So you should not say 1 is better than 3 or 1 is more important than 9. They're in a random order. So poverty, hunger, health, well-being, education, gender equality, water, clean energy, economic growth, industry, innovation, infrastructures. Those are the first 9, and then we have the other 8 over here. So we have reduce inequalities, not just gender, but other inequalities. Sustainable cities. We have consumption, production, climate action, life below water, life above water, so life on land, and then peace, justice, and then partnerships. So those are the different goals that UN put forward. And each goal has various number of targets. So you can check out those 100 and something targets to see more in detail. So current status, again, we have 1 billion people. So what's the world population currently? Anybody knows? 7 point? Yeah, roughly. And when will we stagnate? When is the stagnation point? No idea? So, has someone seen Hans Rosling's presentation? No? So he's a professor from Karolinska. I mean, he was. And then he also has a few books. So check out his videos. It's very good. So there he explained that the world population would stagnate. Of course, now we are increasing because we have better healthcare, we have better medications, and all the developing countries are catching up. But then once that segment of the pyramid will be replaced. I mean, so now because of the lack of healthcare, there's some sort of a gap in that, but once it's being filled up, we will stagnate at 10 or 11 billion. So that's the stagnation point for the world. And then here, 1 billion people, we live without electricity. 3 billion people they lack clean cooking technology. So what's the consequence of not having clean cooking technology? Anybody?
Emissions.
Emissions, so it's for the health again. So you have a lot of housewives, let's say, maybe not just housewives, but people who are doing cooking indoors in developing countries. They get a lot of health issues, and this is something that we can improve by improving the cooking technology. 4 million premature deaths due to that. Half of the renewable energy is still from traditional renewable energy that we saw earlier, and then insufficient progress, especially in transportation, I would say. How can we have better or higher integration of renewable in transportation sector? That's a question. So earlier we saw that fossil fuel is roughly 80%, and the rest 20% is renewable. And then we see that the total energy demand increased by 60% over the last 30 years or so. And then today, I mean, before coal was roughly 40%, and now we're still at 40%. So we have the same amount of percentage for coal use. So not much has changed, actually. Again, 80% fossil fuel based. If we now focus on SDG 7, which is affordable and clean energy, so that's the goal, SDG 7. And it is to provide global access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. There are different policies around it, but if we summarize them, they are to address poverty, inequality, increase share of renewable energy, improve efficiency of the energy use, ensure clean cooking fuels, ensure education, job sustainability, and then link with health, climate, food, and water. So those are some of the challenges raised in those policies, briefs, so summaries, issued from SDG 7. Some of the actions that we can take, I mean, priority actions, are that we should not go for centralized, but we should promote now decentralized systems. What are the advantages of decentralized solutions? Anybody? So instead of having a huge power plant and then with like a grid or pipeline sending out the energy to the whole country, here the idea is to have decentralized, that means distributed one. What's the advantage? Resiliency. Sure. I mean, if the auxiliary system, if there's adequate systems around, sure. Yeah, why not? Anybody? Less monopoly. All right, sure. You have maybe more freedom. I mean, the local communities, maybe they can choose. So sort of a deregularized market. That's true. So less loss, so we get improved efficiency. Like in Sweden, we have a lot of renewable energy from the north, like hydro, wind, but then the users are mainly in the south. So there's a high amount of energy loss from the grid when they transport energy from north to south. So yeah, we can save those. Mm-hmm. So think about those things. Think about why we want to have decentralized. Of course, better integration is easier to integrate for a decentralized system, and the higher rate of implementation for the renewables as well. Another priority actions is to shift towards novel solutions. So we know that we are technologically mature with a lot of the conventional traditional systems, but now we want to promote new technologies, like, I don't know, like electric vehicles. This is something that was not mature maybe 10 years or 20 years back, but now they're getting there, and then we want to promote those so that we can increase the renewable energy share through use of electricity. Targeting the end-use sectors such as building industries, transportations with multi-stakeholder approach, we want to include as many stakeholders as possible. That's the thing. If you start to exclude actors, users, then you don't have the whole picture. So inclusion, that is very important. New financing models. So now we hear a lot about those microfinancing, those especially in developing countries, where they can borrow loans at low interest rates. And those are some new financing models that are good to look at. The policies and regulations are also very important. If the governments are supporting, let's say in Sweden it was heat pump that was highly financed or subsidized. So then almost all the single family house or the villas, they switched from burning oil to borehole-based heat pump. So now a lot of heating in Sweden is done through heat pump electricity instead of burning oil. So the policies are very important, regulations are very important, and then cooperation as well. So cooperation, that means inclusion of everyone again. So we come back to the same points. I see that my time is running out, but I don't think I have so many slides left, so I will go through them still, and then if you're interested, you can come back to the slides afterwards, but always keep in mind to have some critical thinkings. So to decentralize, earlier we talked about decentralization, we need to have energy storage. Peak shading, load shifting, those are some of the things that we can achieve with energy storage, so they are very important. Novel technology solutions, it is important to share the best practices and develop trainings. So education trainings are some of the things that we are doing right now, actually. And then very often, also we talk about, how is it called? This community of inquiry, COI. So you can check that off. Like the scientific community, such as scientists, we are actually a COI, a community of inquiry. What does that mean? That means nobody has an absolute right answer, but we are all peers, so we can discuss. So by changing our ideas, we sort of converge towards a better solution, a better concept. So that is COI. That means we learn. So none of us know what the solution is. None of us know what the best practice is. But then with community of inquiry, by asking questions, by sharing information, we converge to that point. So those are some of the things that can be applicable also for using novel technology solutions so that we can reach these sustainable development goals. End user sectors should be targeted. So it's not just how to make the utility companies earn more money, but also how to make the end users feel that they are also getting some benefits. And we have to, of course, consider the user behaviors, for instance. We have to, here we come back again to the inequalities, eradicate inequalities, but also information dissemination. That is very important, to disseminate information so that everybody is on the same level, on the same wavelength. Financing models, we mentioned earlier about it. Public financing, like crowdfunding, for instance. Those are some of the new models that's possible, especially for new technologies. Policies is important, and this is done more on the top-down approach from EU, from UN, from countries level, etc. So this is the last slide I have here. It is important that those SDGs, they do not conflict with each other. So sometimes you see that if we want to promote life, to have a healthier environment for fish, so for underwater life, maybe that would be bad for the economic development. That means we'll need to spend money to have. So sometimes there can be some contradictions, but then from a report done by Francesco, who is also a researcher here, these are the benefits, synergies, and those are the contradictions. So here we still see that we have more synergies than contradictions. So still, by reaching out towards all the 17 goals, they would help out more than they would contradict each other. If you're interested, you can check out his publication. It's on, I think it's on the Journal of Nature. Nature, yeah. Nature Journal. So the question here for this third part is, are we there yet? Have we managed to reach this transition in energy towards sustainable goals or sustainable development? I would say not yet. We're still some distance away. I mean, already from the share of renewable energy, 20%. I mean, 18% it's very little. So there's still a long way to go. And then if you take a look at the job market, I think there's a report, an article in this report on the job market. You can see that renewable energy is increasing in terms of the job share. So if you want to be working in the fields, you're welcome. I mean, I think there's a potential for you to work in renewable energy sector. And with that, I think my time is up for today. So thank you all very much. Yep. And tomorrow will be, 10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock with Andrew. Yep, thank you all.